Good morning to all of you. Dignitaries in the dais, dignitaries who are expected to come very soon. Distinguished delegates from various organizations, ladies and gentlemen. It is my proud privilege to stand in front of you and talk to you about a subject which is very core to the heart of all of you and core to the heart of the entire country, India. Let me tell you that my presentations are divided into two parts. One presentation I'll be doing here as a keynote, the other presentation I'll be doing in the workshop. Since all of you are aware of the background of SMEs and organizational positions in finance, I would like to skip, in the context of time, certain slides of mine. I'm sure these slides will be shared with you and you will be able to look at it and reflect upon it soon. I'll be looking at financial activism which is required in the country today. You know, one of the most important positions in the MSME sector today is that fund is not available. And what is to be done to make the fund available to the MSME sector? I will be trying to look at from the perspective of the self-introspection in the workshop and the macroeconomic solutions in this particular gathering. So let me get into the enormity of the issue by understanding what is the situation today. About 30 million organizations today are looking for 32.5 trillion rupees in India. And out of that 32.5 trillion rupees, the total position of equity requirement is roughly about 26.5 and debt 6. One can say that the equity requirement could have been less and debt could have been more. But the situation is the initial money which is to come to any MSME should be in the form of equity, can be converted to debt because the initial repayment capability of MSMEs are less. But the position here is that International Financial Corporation in 2010 understood that total fund requirement is 32.5 trillion rupees, out of which the immediately addressable fund requirement was 10.6 trillion rupees. I'm talking about the last red box. Now, situation here is that addressable money in the form of equity requirement was only 0.67 trillion rupees. If the debt equity ratio is considered to be 2:1 for a moment, which is the safest of all, could have been that the equity requirement was 1/3 of 10.6 trillion rupees. But the situation, you can see that equity was in place, the debt was not in place. That is the position. If that be the situation, I would like to request you to get into the things possible as is metaphorically signified in this particular picture. What is being seen here is that a big log is being placed to bridge a gap by 6 ants. Believe me, these ants can do hundreds of times more heavy jobs than what is their body weight. And they do it together. And that is the point I am making, is that don't challenge your limits, limit your challenges. Don't challenge your limits. You have unlimited position with you. What you have to essentially do, you have to limit your challenges. You have to deal with your challenges. If that is to be done, then what is to be done? Let me start here. Trade brings prosperity, and prosperity brings peace, and peace brings trade, and trade brings prosperity, and the process goes on. If that be the situation, then what has to be brought into trade is governance. What has to be brought into trade is the trust among stakeholders. And that is where trust and governance and discipline, study and philosophy, lot of learning points will be receiving from and philosophy. I'm personally grateful to Rahul, who has searched me out from the country and brought in front of you. I'm thankful to ISCC. Now I'll be presenting my thoughts. Believe me, where I will leave you in this, I will be taking you in the workshop from there. We have talked about it. Now I have certain suggestions to take you through. Instead of spending time on what is the scenario today, let me take you through about the issue which we are talking about. There is an enormous problem of getting finance in the MSME sector. And I was telling you that any MSME sector organization starts with the entrepreneur's money, but it doesn't end up with the prosperity because there is a credibility issue coming up in between. Now, what we can do as a macroeconomic situation and what we can do in a microeconomic situation at the business level, let us study that. Sorry. MSME sector first have to map themselves where they are. I believe whatever may be the situation in MSME sector today, whatever is the situation in MSME sector today, we have to essentially get into a situation where our percentage change in turnover should give us a higher percentage change in profit. If that is to be done, we have to follow through the position of Gordon Donaldson. Gordon Donaldson is a guy who has told us a model called return on net assets. It says that, in Hindi I will speak, Rona nahi hai to rona padega. Rona means return on net asset nahi hai to aankhon se aansu aayega. That is what I spoke in 1982 in a regional conference of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Sorry, I'm not very used to this clicker. You may have some interruptions. So what we are talking about is that wherever we are today, let us understand what is happening today and what should happen tomorrow. And from there, let us take over. I would request you to personally look at this particular model. This is a model which has got not any rocket science into it. We are talking about three things in this model. One thing which we are talking about is the regret matrix analysis. I'll come to it soon. The second thing we are talking about is the certainty equivalent approach. And the third thing we are talking about is a thought leadership in the context of the organization's CEO and CFO, whatsoever level they are in. Whatever you take as a business proposition, that has to be tested with a project of certainty equivalent approach. In this model, what we have taken 4 business propositions, and I have taken return on capital employed, price sensitivity, market share, and social desirability as the factors. You can plot any other factors into it and try and understand, put certain values. It need not be mathematical or numerical values. You can put in the form of medium, low, high, and very high. What I'm trying to tell you here is that whatever business propositions you do, you have to submit a memorandum of information and a due diligence report to the financial organization from where you are expecting fund. You are definitely preparing a project report. That project report is having all business information, business propositions, how the market will happen, but it is not having 3 things. One is the sensitivity analysis, next is the regret matrix analysis, and last is the certainty equivalent approach. I am trying to propagate that thought here, where I am trying to say that suppose you have only one business proposition, or the same business proposition is now in an expansion mode. What the financing world will be expecting from you, that in this business proposition, do you have at least the plan B? That is a fallback arrangement if your plan A fails, or you have any other option to go in some route or the other. Even if all these things are not there, what sales value have you projected? What sales quantity have you projected? What is the return on capital employed you have projected? What is the input cost you have projected? And what is the sales price you have projected? after the model which you have presented to me in the information memorandum, can you do a sensitivity analysis by increasing, decreasing your sales price, increasing, decreasing your material cost, or increasing, decreasing your sales quantity, how the profitability moves? Because specialists who are going to look at your project will be looking that way, that what is the situation of this business in the context of sensitivity of any of these items in the marketplace. That is where the most of the due diligence report fail, because MSME is in the list of the priority. You know why MSME is the list of the priority to large financiers, equity investors, private equity and angel investors? Because of three things. One, you have no collateral to offer. You have no market value to test, because MSME stock exchange in the country has not flourished as yet, and you do not have your past credibility to offer, or your like Mr. Anil Ambani, with whom I have worked, or Shashi Ruia, Ravi Ruia, for that matter, Vedanta Group, you do not have that name and credibility behind you. What you have is to yield to create value. To create value, you will be aggressive. But your aggression has to be tested in the context of super reality, and that is what this regret matrix analysis will be talking to you. I have certain mechanisms, I have certain activisms to recommend here. Let us see, you will be doing anything and everything to get funds. What the government can do for you, and what this in the Arab Chamber of Commerce can talk about. First, I will be talking about integrate Bharat with India. We have already heard so far. All the urban societies have been benefited from the cheap labor of Bharatman's villages. Villages have supported India, that is urban India. What we need, that India has to support now the village where most of the MSMEs are sitting today. So I am asking for Bharat to be integrated with India, not India to be Bharat with integrated. Bharat to be integrated with India, we have given all the plans. We have seen so far since 67th years of independence is there. Where India, urban India has gone to Bharat, that is rural India. Let us look at that. So next point, I am saying that MSME have to be linked to the global chain. I know of one entrepreneur in India who was serving Defense Academy. He came into contact of a Dutch guy, and he has set up a precision drilling tool which is being used by Airbus and Boeing. For manufacturing Airbus and Boeing engine, a precision drilling tool is being manufactured in one corner of SEZ in West Bengal. That is called linkage with the global value chain. I am requesting Government of India and the IACC to set up a desk to understand what value chain linkage can have Indian MSME with the world. The next point I am bringing in, I am a director nominated by the Government of India into National Skill Development Missions Enhancement, where Future Group has a public-private sector enterprise. I am from Future Soft Skills Limited. At the moment, I am a professor of Narsimhanji Institute of Management Studies. I used to be the Group CFO of Reliance Communications and Group Controller of SR. What I have seen, we have lots of engineers, but lots less to employ. Employability skill is not there. What I am trying to say, that the Prime Minister's National Skill Development Mission, let it be a success. What problem MSMEs suffer today, you know? They start with everything, but they don't have the skill labor available to start generating profit. They first train the people, in the process, lot of time lapses away. So I request IACC to support the skill development mission of the country. The next point is inclusive growth, because I am requesting you to integrate India with Bharat. For me, inclusive growth is got two issues. One, we have enormous capabilities to create value. That is human resources. We have enormous resources which capabilities can convert into value addition. What we do not have is the marriage of the capability and the resources, and building a shield around it so that there can be a sustainable value creation by MSME sector. The point I am trying to make is that there has to be identification mission ki if the skills are available, if the resources are available, what we can do to bring them together. That is my point on bring together the value generation and human capabilities. I am requesting, one of my interviews have been published in the Global Analyst, where I have suggested that Government of India should introduce technical advisory support system in every district, where they will be proactively going and visiting MSME sectors, like a statistician or a sales tax officer or an inspector visits you. Why not a technical consultant visit you on their own and look at you, what you are doing and how can I help you. That's the next suggestions I have. One more important suggestion is the unlocking of green logistics or reverse logistics. I worked in 1982 in a factory where we used to make steel drums out of flat steel, CRCA steel. The scrap we used to generate, the trade mafias of Aligarh used to capture that lock scrap, corner scrap, where from locks were made. As you know, Aligarh is the center of lock making in India. These trade mafias, after getting those scrap, they used to sell it to the small lock manufacturers. What SR has done, you know, SR has developed express marts at the small towns to give steel to MSME sector at the sizes which the MSME sector is looking for. I am looking for a situation where reverse logistics takes place. Whatever scrap is generated into urban India in the form of old fridges, air conditioners, anything and everything which has got deployable material, those scraps should be brought in and processed so that we create value out of nothing. That is what is the suggestion of mine in the form of green logistics and scrap. As you know, one of the biggest contamination of water is through paint. Anything which is painted externally, if it is allowed to stay on the earth, the paint goes in and there is arsenic problem comes up. So this will also save the earth that way. So reverse logistics is going to save the earth. The next point is encouragement of communion. The best of the models which has worked in China, ours is 45% of the production is from the MSME sector. In China it is not more, just 5% more. In terms of volume it could be more, but in terms of relative inclusion it is just 5% more. My point here is that wherever there are clusters and concentration of MSMEs, why not we create a communion of maintenance gang? We not create a central power plant to help if the SEB is not supposed giving. Why not we create a shared CFO services, which will come into the next slide. Means we create a cooperative of certain facilities which an MSME cannot afford to create in its own enterprise. That is the communion model. Let us create. What most important is innovationism. You know what is innovationism? Innovationism is a combination of three words, and my website which is coming up is called innovationian.com. Innovation is a word I have seen in Florida, USA, Epcot Museum. Innovation means innovation, invention and creation. Innovation and invention has got no value unless through creativity value is added to it. One of my softwares presently is under patenting in USA. An accountant creating a software for converting accounts of any gap of the world to IFRS and IFRS to any gap of the world. If it can be created by name Munimji and by training Munimji, you can create any value into the world. Because you are by process, by training, by nature, you are thinkers. So let us get the mantra of innovationism. I'm trying to trademark this word, that's why TM words is there. I'm trying to spread this theory that not only innovation will not work, only invention will not work. Innovation and invention has to be added with creation of value. My next point comes to the MSME to themselves, where I am requesting MSME should join a movement where we should have a metal bazaar and an agro bazaar. Metal bazaar and agro bazaar at the district level will be looking at what is required by an MSME, which is not to be purchased from a middleman. We curtail the middleman profit and let MSMEs be fed with the required material at the right price, at the right time, for the right value. Many agro products are MSMEs inputs. So this metal bazaar and agro bazaar can help. The next point is promote PE and angel investors. PE and angel investors, they do not come to you because you do not have a value proposition to be tested in the market in the form of a listed equity. Why not a community of, because Arabian countries had a lot of values, a lot of money to invest, why not we look at the angel and PE route and do the modeling of business so that there can be angel investors to Indian MSMEs. The next point I am trying to introduce, which is slightly technical, but see how it works. I am looking for a concrete value chain of financing system. First, let the Indian banking system give a letter of credit for a new MSME for buying its equipment and initial material. That letter of credit, when the supply takes place, letter of credit will be used by the supplier to get his money. This money will be paid through a converted item called buyer's credit. Buyer's credit is a short-term money which people will get, which is not a long-term loan as yet. It will be having a 6 months to 1 year tenure. This buyer's credit will then get converted into a term loan. It will get converted into a term loan by the time you start producing, so that you can pay a little higher interest. This buyer's credit can be also converted into post-shipment, pre-shipment loan, followed by pre-shipment loan. I will discuss all this thing in the workshop when you attend, if you attend. The whole subject is, this term loan, there is a fear amongst the banking system of the country that MSME doesn't pay. Introduce an escrow arrangement where the people who are assured suppliers of money to you, that is, who are your customers and giving money to you, let the money come to an escrow account. Let there be a tripartite agreement that your customer will provide the money into the escrow account, bankers will take its installment from it, rest of the money will be available to you for payment to your government dues and running your factory and your own money. This particular value chain of loan has worked very well in the Indian large-scale sector. I'm a guy who has worked on it. I have a case study which, if you hear in my workshop, you'll understand what is this value chain means. In the process, the entire MSME would be able to establish its credibility on honesty manifested into an escrow account. Escrow account is a no-lien account where you cannot directly cut a check. It will be administered by the banker based on the arrangement done. Some of you may think that why somebody should administer my money. In given certain situations of credibility and transparency, for some time till your business grows up, and today's MSME is tomorrow's MNC, as you know. Today's MSME is tomorrow's multinational, and tomorrow's multinational is day after's transnational. SR Group has proved it. It started as a small submarine contractor. Today, balance sheet which I left 1.5 months before I left, I used to handle a balance sheet of roughly about $40 billion. It started as a small contracting firm in the shore of Chennai. So it is possible. For that we have to build on trust, for that we have to build on faith, for that we have to build on governance. I am talking about shared CFO service. You do not have money to deploy a specialist on finance, accounting, taxation, company secretary, CBDTs, excise duty, service tax, sales tax, name any kind of governance requirement. You don't have time to appoint, money to appoint. What do? You end up appointing a guy who is jack of everything but master of none. In the process, you end up having risky situations and non-compliances. Why not we develop in India a shared CFO model where this shared CFO service will be having all kinds of specialists sitting in it and serving various organizations in the MSME sector. Believe me, one of my friends, he is serving today 25 MSME organizations in his capacity as a shared CFO service. You will get all possible technical services, yet at the same time you will be paying for the time you utilize. They will be clocking time for you. Cloud computing. The IT specialist from Tata is sitting here. He will be having a workshop, I understand. Cannot be a situation that we give MSMEs the cloud computing facility. You are appointing Tally, you are appointing Excel, somebody's desktop, somebody's laptop. These are having your accounts. That's a chalta firta accounts which moves with the accountant. Why not cloud computing is extended to MSME at a lower price? Today technology is very cheap. What you have to do, you have to create a firewalled area for your MSME in that cloud computing system. Have the benefit of SAP. That will increase your credibility, that will increase your trust and faith manifold. So that's my suggestion of shared CFO and cloud computing. Then my next suggestion is toll manufacturing. Will you be agreeing to a suggestion that SR is having in Kenya a 4 million ton oil refinery which only runs on toll manufacturing? Means the marketing companies of Kenya buy the crude oil, give to that factory or refinery, and the refinery only gets the conversion cost. Cannot our MSMEs who have to live on a daily basis get the material from its major buyer, convert it and get the conversion charges? Toll manufacturing model works for standalone refinery. You know, the world has converted. Indian banking system is today giving money as a commodity and charging you loan. I have personally worked on an accounting problem for a couple of banks giving crude oil, selling crude oil to standalone refinery of SR in Manchester, and then buying the finished product and then marketing it. SR gets the entire marketing, entire value chain of the refinery. It is not toll, but the banking system is the procurer of the crude oil and the seller of the finished product. Indian banking people are still not on commodity trading. Why not? Why Indian banks have to survive and thrive only on money as the commodity and charge interest? Sorry sir, you are sitting here, I am having the audacity and courage to speak about it. I have spoken in International Financing Review Indian Conference, which is the largest and widely circulated magazine of the world. I have spoken about it, that fee-based banking and commodity-based banking should be Indian banking transformer tomorrow. Money, lending and earning money, anybody and everybody in a village can do in a little bit sophisticated manner. So you go and tell the bankers, buy the material for me, sell it to me, sell the material, my finished product to others. That's possible. That's an international model that happens. And the last one, risk management. Believe me, enterprise risk management is not prevalent. Yesterday only I was addressing a gathering of 35 controllers drawn from largest companies of the country. It was in Bombay. I could get only 10% to 15% answer, whereas enterprise risk management is a way of life. Believe me, risk management has to be inculcated into MSME sector of the country also. Your risk management methodology should be a little different. If you attend the workshop, I'll talk about it. But believe me, that is a need for you. Unless you do risk management, unless you have your plan B ready, unless you can anticipate what is going to harm you tomorrow, you are going to be a firefighter. You will not be concentrated in your product business. So I will end up with this small slide. I will not request you to be the opportunist, but there is a need for it. And the last one is this. We have to always make positive statement. What you have heard recently from a political leader in India, that a half full glass with water can be also called completely full, half with water and half with air. This I am propagating for last 15 years. So what you have to do in MSME sector is not to challenge your limits. You have to challenge the limits of the economy, because you have got tremendous amount of innovationism and entrepreneurship in you. And that is where I end. I request you to read the last message here, because the charity begins at home. All cultural shifts which is needed today in terms of transparency, peace, faith has to start with me. I have to become a good human being first. So from the word management, if we delete the word T, what remains is management. So you have to manage your 10, 20, 30 people properly with a human approach. And if you drop the word N from men, it is manage me. So first you manage yourself, then the whole world can be managed with peace. Thank you very much indeed. Organize this permit in terms of time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can have the mic moving around just in case you have any doubts.
How to manage me? If you go to IIM Kozhikode site, the brilliance of the country who were there as a student of strategic financial management, they asked after an interview, it was being taken at 10:30 after my lecturing with them from 5:30 to 8:30, they were interviewing me at 10:30 because they are used to study up to morning 4 o'clock. There is a cafeteria in IIM Kozhikode which runs throughout the night and fully with students. You know what I told them? First, you become a good human being. How to become a good human being? It is not to be told to you. Your conscience tells you. Conscience is common and everything present in everybody's mind. At times you go against your conscience and do something which your brain tells you. The mind, brain, heart has to work together. Then you become a good human being. If you are a good human being, you are a good father, good mother, good husband, good wife, good leader, good team member, and a good proprietor and a good entrepreneur. I think once you become a good human being, you have already managed yourself. Thank you.
And introducing the new products or practices in the group.
Okay.
New products or services. How did you manage to introduce them?
Concept called 4P bottom line, which you must be aware of. It was so far 3P bottom line, now it has become 4P bottom line. The first P is profit. The second P is people. The third P is planet. And the fourth P is product. And you are asking me a question about product. I have with me enormous number of studies from McKinsey, IBM, and also McKinsey, which states, I have in my laptop which I have carried with me, it says that any product which is people friendly, planet friendly, and profit friendly is bound to survive. What is the strategy to be followed for launching the product into your target market segment is a matter of marketing guy to support and tell you, because that is the skill of themselves. But as a CEO, as a strategist to the CEO, being the finance guy, I would request you to testify your product from the context of sustainability management. And if you talk to me offline, I can share with you, if a product can sustain certain tastes of natural taste, cultural taste, material taste, and profit taste, the product is going to be taken. In the city of Kerala, there was a gentleman who was offered Ujala. Ujala is a product which was started at 5 rupees. I have also given the case of Nirma, which Karshandas Bhai Patel used to sell behind his cycle. And today Nirma has given a run for their money to Rekit Ben Sikar. Ujala has given a run for, and Nirma has given a run for their money for Procter & Gamble and Hindustan Lever. Why? Because the product has to serve the latent demand in the society if it is a new product. What was the latent demand of served by Nirma? I'll give you a story. I have time, Rahul. How Nirma came. I have many more stories to tell you. Let me give you this story. Santabai used to work in a very big, very high echelon executive's office. Santabai is a lady working in somebody's house. Santabai told one day to the wife of that gentleman, भाभी आपकी ये जो सोप है ना, ये जो डिटर्जेंट है ना, इससे आपकी किचन की कपड़े नहीं साफ होगा, किचन की और डोर मैट और जो आपके बच्चे हैं जो बाहर में कपड़ा गंदा करके आते हैं वो नहीं साफ होगा. क्यों? You need some detergent which is robust. My husband works in a factory and he comes with all black dirty clothes. I use Nirma, it cleans. What Nirma was introduced as a robust detergent to take care of the sabun ghiso effort to a detergent effort, just soak and clean, that found its inroad into the high echelon society because there was a latent demand of a detergent which can take care of robust dirts. Thus Nirma from the low echelon of the society went to the high echelon of the society and took the market share of Procter & Gamble of Hindustan Lever. And that is what is the success story of Karshan Das Bhai Patel. What he did after that, Nirma became a brand of acceptance, brand of trust. Then he started bath soap with Nirma. Ujala is the same thing. Ujala was started in Kerala because Keralites wear white saris. Take the case of 3M's Cellotape. Cellotape was the biggest failure in 3M's technology because Cellotape is a sticky substance. Packaging industry couldn't use it. Some worker one day brought the word innovationism into it. He said that load this tape round wheel on a cutter and provide a cutter so that he just taps it, cuts it, tests it, and now Cellotape is a history in the world, right? So you have to bring the innovativeness into it so that it becomes user friendly, it gives value for money. All these things, if it testifies your product is a success, how to launch it? There is a specialist called a marketing guy. He's a small entrepreneur from Dehradun. His name is Pankaj Bhandari. He picked up a technology from Bhabha Atomic Research Center of a low-cost water purifier. And rest is history. So you have to, again, if you are going to market somebody's product to help the MSME manufacturer, to give them a relief that you produce, I will sell, you have to testify with a 4P bottom line. And 4P bottom line has to be built on governance, trust, faith, ethics, and on the latent demand of the society. You know, in my childhood, we used to hear sell price is equal to cost plus profit. What is today's sell price? Today's sell price is what the customers perceives value in you. Am I right? So you have to take like this what customers gives you. Out of these there are sharks. Who are the sharks? One of them is the money lender. He has to take away. You have to take your own running family cost by way of dividend. You have to give the government its share. Finally, what is left with is the cost. So you have, if your product is a manager of cost, if your product is ready to accept the sale price which customers perceives to be the value in it, then your product is going to be successful. It's not cost plus. Believe me, I bought 55,000 one simple voice phone from Motorola in the year somewhere around 1998 for my director. Mobile phone. What is the cost of voice phone today? 2,000 rupees. Why it was 55? Because they have the advantage of first mover. If you have any product which is having the first moving advantage, then you at the moment you can have price, but you will have to build up the rest of the 3-4 years on a thing that your customer is not going to give you that price which you are having because of the first mover. So there is not one taste. There are many tastes given the situation of the product, given the situation of your target customer, given the situation of the geographical area you are serving. You have to decide how to market it. I was in Switzerland last August. I was about to visit Jungfrau. My wife was too brave. She said that I use only one sweater and one muffler. That should be sufficient for me to withstand minus 11 degree temperature in Jungfrau, Switzerland. Many of you might have visited. You know what I had to do? On the station, which is the last point from where commercial activities are done, I had to buy for her a completely woolen cardigan before I went for Jungfrau, which is the highest railway station in the European world. You know why? Because it has a place value, and that person charged me under the nose. You can create a high price if you create a place value to the product. It's not always the product has a value. You can create a place value to the product. You can create a latent demand value to the product. And then give the others run for their money. What Dhirubhai Ambani did, I was the group CFO of Reliance Communications. Do I have time, Rahul? Dhirubhai Ambani said, and I have heard it from Anil Ambani himself because I used to be the group CFO and work with him very, very closely. He said, Anil and Mukesh, you can be successful in telecom only when you make telecom as a commodity, like postcard is a commodity. What is there in postcard? You have a full page, maybe 1/4 of a A4 size paper and a half page on the reverse side. Whatever in standard handwriting can be communicated, you should be able to price your voice call at that price. Then only a guy who is Aya, buy, carpenter, dudwala, electrician, fitter, ABCDEF customer for you will buy from you. Because you are making him to buy a handset of 5,000. Why he is paying the handset of 5,000 immediately? Because he wants to communicate immediately. But your cost of communication should not be more than the postcard cost, and rest is history in India. This gentleman, Dhirubhai Ambani's intuitive decision of, it was no research, no experimentation, nothing. It was a simple intuitive decision of pricing 3 minutes at 1 rupee 20 paisa, that is 40 paisa per minute, made history in India. And same is Captain Gopinath. Because of Captain Gopinath, we got no frill airlines in the country. Rahul is looking at me, so I'll take break from you. I will be, if you, sorry. Yeah, please.
My name is Sanjeev, sir.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you on trademarking the word inventionism. My question is twofold here.
Yeah.
The first one is actually, what are the areas that you are proposing to the government of India relating to the inventionism, and how that will be encouraging to the entrepreneurs here? And the second one is, probably I'll let you answer for the first one, then the second one actually I'll ask.
Let me tell you, inventionism is not rocket science. How being by training and by application for about 30 years, being a Munimji by Indian Hindi word, how an accountant can think of a software which is now cleared by WIPO Switzerland. Me as the chief inventor of the software along with my team members, how could I think of? I was consolidating a balance sheet of roughly about 200 companies using Mr. Bill Gates Jindabad Excel. Excel is too risky a proposition, too voluminous a proposition. Even if you do Excel consolidation in a shared space of a server, you are still risky, because somebody is doing it in a manner which is open for Excel problems. So we thought, why not, what can be done in Excel can be done in a software. I proposed this amongst my team members. Let us invent a software. How to convert any accounts of India into IFRS and IFRS to Indian GAAP. You know why? Because we have to go to London Stock Exchange for listing SR's shares, which is the largest in UK stock exchange by an Indian company and second largest in any stock exchange of the world by an Indian company. We thought about it. What made us to think? We stretched and sweated, yet at the same time we could not deliver that time. So we thought, let it be done. We started thinking instead of innovating in an inventive manner. And that is where innovationism comes. Believe me, I am now available for consulting in this world in a very lighter vein, on a selfish manner. I am working with many organizations to only tell them think differently after having a look at their proposition. Because thinking differently is not rocket science, and most of my thinking comes when I am taking bath, because the head is cool. Believe me, it happens. I am all over the problem when I go to bed, then I take bath, the problem solves. It has to happen with you only. Only thing is that instead of doing everything, firefighting, kal kaise bechenge, kal kaise your product logistically move karenge, spend some time for thinking. Thinking will bring the innovative mind in you. And that is another word I am trying to do, trademarking.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
You become an inventor.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank
and
you.
the second question arises with your explanation here. Nice analogy, actually.
Yeah.
The second question is that we are trying to patent a couple of
Ministry of Industry and Primary Resources was formed in 1989 to create an environment that is conducive for investment. The ministry's vision is to turn Brunei Darussalam into a diversified, competitive, and sustainable economy through the facilitation of trade development and the enhancement of competitive industries and dynamic entrepreneurship. To achieve this vision, the ministry through its various departments has embarked on an array of efforts, one of which includes the Brunei Halal brand. Launched by His Majesty the Sultan and Young Dipertuan of Negara Brunei Darussalam in 2007, the Brunei Halal brand enables Brunei Darussalam to position itself to become one of the major players of the global halal market. Aside from catering high-quality halal food and products for the Muslim population worldwide, Brunei Halal range will soon expand to include cosmetic and pharmaceutical sector due to Brunei's unique biosphere reserve, thus further complementing the needs of today's modern halal lifestyle. In its efforts to realize the vision 2035, the government of Brunei Darussalam is aware of its social and environmental responsibilities. Therefore, the government underscores legitimate and sustainable use of resources, benefiting to the current and future generations. With more than 70% of the nation still covered in pristine natural rainforests, Brunei Darussalam is able to further explore a more conscientious and responsible form of tourism, ecotourism. Through conservation, whilst creating economic opportunities to the nation, tourists to Brunei Darussalam are able to bask in the picturesque and natural ecosystem and have a greater appreciation of the cultural heritage of the country.